Hello all, I want to share a few more photos on the restoration of my Silvertone 4569 radio. Again, when I left off, I was sharing my strategy for doing the veneering. Here are a couple photos as I start that process. As I mentioned in the prior video, as well as what's depicted here, the blue painter's tape represents my 50-degree cut lines where the new veneer and old veneer will match. Using a straight edge and a sharp razor, I continued to score the existing veneer multiple passes with just light to medium pressure until I felt like I was underneath the veneer into the substrate. This process is simple and straightforward. Two key factors, though: make certain that you have a sharp razor, and again, do not over apply pressure. Multiple passes is your friend. After completing the cut on the right side of the chassis, I moved to the left side, again used my straight edge, razor, and followed the same process. With the veneer cuts complete on the left and right side, I moved my focus to the left side. Again, I'm going to remove the veneer from the left side, from the left edge, all the way up to the center inlay piece. When these old cabinets were manufactured back in the day, hide glue was really the choice for applying the veneer to the substrate. It can also be challenging to remove. Doing so using an iron on medium heat and just a light amount of steam can be helpful. After my first pass with the iron and just a little bit of steam, I started removing the veneer from the bottom fragile, broken pieces to the top cut line as depicted here in the photo. Again, you get to a certain point where you can't remove the veneer, so pull the iron back out, apply some more heat, and continue the process. After applying the heat and some steam, you can see the veneer starting to soften up here, and I'm making great progress on getting it removed. Let's hope my cut lines are deep enough so when the veneer removal gets to that point, I get a nice crisp break line. Additional heat was required on the old veneer just again to soften up the adhesive so I could continue removing the veneer. The last application of heat and no steam, it actually softened the veneer up where I was able to finish removing the veneer all the way to the cut line. So things worked out exactly the way I wanted. My cut lines were deep enough, and as you can see here in the photos, I got a nice clean separation that I was hoping for. Here I'm removing the final couple pieces of veneer on the left side, and again the heat that I had already provided softened this up enough where again I was able to remove it and got a nice clean separation from the cut line. A few more photos here of the veneer removed on the left side. Again, I continue this process to the right side and then eventually to the center. Here I'm removing the painter's tape that I use for my 50-degree angle. One thing I did notice when I matched the old veneer to the new veneer, the old veneer is a little bit thicker, and that's common. So I may have to build the substrate up just a little bit to help a better match and blend. Here's a closer look at the substrate and the angled cut. There are a couple places where there's some gouges in the substrate material itself, and again I will fill those in. You want to make certain that your veneer's definitely on a flat plane. I followed the same process for removing the veneer in the center. A lot more adhesive or hide glue was most likely used in that area. It required a lot more heat and effort. The next step in the process was to create a template for cutting the veneer. Doing so, I used a piece of common copy paper, applied it to the left side of the radio, made sure it was completely aligned correctly, applied light pressure along the contour lines, used a pencil, and traced it out. I've seen numerous techniques used for actually creating templates. This is one that has worked well for me in the past, so I'm just sticking with what I know. A few more photos I wanted to share of me creating the template. Again, very, very basic, easy to do, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm sure there's various techniques to achieve the same desired output. With the tracing out of the template complete and also confirming it was a nice fit, I moved on to cutting the veneer. I'll follow the same process that I described earlier for cutting the new veneer. Again, I can't stress enough, make sure you have a very sharp razor. Do not over apply pressure. You want to score the veneer multiple times so you get a nice clean cut line. More photos again of just tracing out and making cuts along the template. Again, it's very, very tedious, I must say. Can't really tell you that I really enjoyed it very much, but it just comes along with the restoration process. Now it's time to review my work and see if I got a nice clean cut line as I described I was hoping to get. And as you can see, I did. There's always just a little additional trimming that's necessary. It's no big deal. Again, just pull the razor back out, make a few final cuts, and you'll be good to go. I've placed the template back on the veneer, and again I just want to create a right cut line just for reference only. This is not my final resting point for the veneer for the right side alignment. It's just a reference point at this time. Here what you see depicted are just some final cuts again to create separation again with some nice smooth cut lines from the stock veneer. So the anticipation's building. Will it fit? Did I do a good job? So let's take a quick look here and see how this left side fits on the radio. I was very fortunate. The first cut of veneer is a great fit. I may have to make a couple tweaks, but that's it. You probably noticed the right side is also cut and the veneers on the radio as well laying there. I was able to take the existing template, invert it over, use it. My angle on the right side was probably about a half a degree off, so I'll have to do just a little bit of filing there on that veneer to get the snug, tight line fit that I'm looking for. Overall, though, I'm very pleased. I would say the left and right side front cuts are very basic and straightforward, even though they were very tedious. Now comes the fun part. Stay with me. The next video, I'll try to recreate the center inlay pieces, again where the grain runs at a 45-degree angle. That should be a little bit more challenging for sure. Before I conclude the video, just one more update. I did get some separation of the substrate material. That's not uncommon. Again, after applying some heat and steam, I got some lifting. So I applied some glue overnight, some clamps, and we've got that taken care of. It turned out well. So here are a couple photos again before and after. Again, thanks for stopping by. Hey, I appreciate all my new subscribers out there as well, and your comments are always welcome.